Let's look now at placing some text in our model space. Now you'll notice the current drafting layer there is text. We're in our 2D drafting and annotation workspace and I'm in the Home tab right now. And there's the Layers panel and it's telling me the current drafting layer is our text layer. Now I don't actually need these yellow construction lines anymore. So let's freeze those by clicking on the layer pull down, clicking on the sun symbol for construction. As you can see, it turns to a snowflake. Click in the drawing area and they've gone. Now, the good thing is these holes, the rectangular holes in our gasket, are going to act as a good template for us to place our text in our model space. Now, we need to name these gaskets as Gasket 1 and Gasket 2. I'm going to zoom in here on this rectangle here, first of all. So get the crosshair over the rectangle, roll upwards on the wheel, and just pan a little bit by holding the wheel down. Make sure that your object snaps are on here. So you right click and you need to make sure that your midpoint snap is on. That's the important thing. You can also do that in settings if you need to. Midpoint is there. Make sure it's one of your running object snaps. Now we've got the right layer, text, that's good. Now the default font for standard text in AutoCAD 2011 is the Arial font. Remember, in previous versions of AutoCAD to that, you will need to change the text style. We do that on the Annotate tab, on the ribbon here. We go to the text panel, and just to the right there, click on the little arrow. There's the standard text style. Make sure your font name in the list here is Arial. It may be txt.shx if you're using an older version of AutoCAD, say 2010, 2009. So make sure that is set to Arial. And then you don't even need to worry about applying that. Well, I don't because it's already the default one anyway, so I'm going to cancel that. But you will need to apply it and then close that dialog box. I'm going back to the Home tab now. And text is obviously my current layer there. Make sure that text is your current layer. And I'm going to use the Annotation panel, click on the flyout here, and select Single Line Text. I'm going to come into the drawing area, and it prompts me for the start point of the text. I right click and I go to Justify. And on that shortcut menu that appears, you want MC, Middle Center. So you want the middle point of your text. Now, hover on the midpoint snap here using your object snap tracking. And as you move away, you see the highlight there. Move up here to this midpoint, hover over it, don't click. And as you come down, there's the intersection. You're using that as your middle center point of your text, so left click. Now just move the crosshair away from the objects so you don't get any tracking or object snaps getting in the way. The height of our text has to be full size in Modelspace. Everything is full size. If I put the default height there of 2.5, that's going to be tiny. That rectangle is actually 50 high, so we need the text to fit in that rectangle. So I'm going to go for 35. 35 units high and press enter. The rotation angle of the text, 0 goes off to the east, to the right. So we need horizontal text, so we just accept that 0 by pressing enter. There's our little cursor there, and I'm going to type in Gasket 1. And that fits perfectly in the rectangle. Press enter once, that'll take you to the next line down, which we don't need. Enter again to finish, and that closes out the single line text command. So we've placed Gasket 1. That's excellent. Double click on your wheel now to zoom extents, and maybe just roll out a little bit so that you can see what you're doing. Now, Gasket 1 is there. When I click on it, I've got two grips. I've got the default left grip, and I've got this center grip here, the middle center grip. That's because we justified that text to middle center. So what we're going to do now, we're going to use a little bit of grip editing. Going to click on that center grip there. And as we move now, see, we can move the text, but we don't want to just move it. We want to move and copy. So it's a right click and move on the shortcut menu, and a right click again and copy. Two right clicks, remember. So we're doing a move and a copy using grip editing. Then we go over here and we hover over the midpoint snap again, like so, and we hover over the midpoint snap again. When we come down, There's the intersection. We left click. And there's our gasket 1 sitting on our gasket 2. Press enter to finish. Hit escape to deselect that first gasket 1. Make sure you do that. Otherwise, any edits you do will affect both. Now, we need to edit this text here. So we highlight it by moving over it, double click. Automatically kicks in with the inline text editing there. Just click in the editing area and you'll see the cursor there. Using your standard keyboard entry now, I'm going to use the delete key there because the cursor is in front of the 1. And I'm going to type 2 and then it's enter once, enter twice to finish. So I've got gasket 1, gasket 2. I now quickly select both, 1 and 2. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to right click on the shortcut menu and I'm going to move the 2 bits of text. So I select move. It asks for a base point. Now I want my text to line in with, can you see there, this part of each of those there. So I'm going to use the midpoint there on the rectangle. And as I just move vertically upwards, can you see the tracking line kicking in there? If I hover over that point there and just move gently there, see it lock in on the left-hand gasket? Doesn't matter about gasket 2 because that's just following what I'm doing. If I left click now, they are perfectly placed. Gasket 1, gasket 2. So I've used my text in the model space there, but I've also used a lot of tracking and object snaps to place them nice and neatly on the drawing.